Hello, welcome to Chart Maintenance and Garage. Today we're going to be working on my 2013 GMC Sierra. So let's get to it. So the other day, I had been having troubles when I get up to like 65, where the whole steering wheel kind of gives it a little bit of a shake. And I've also been having trouble with stopping too. Brake pedals go a little farther to the floor. So I wanted to check it out. When I when I jacked this tire up, I saw it kind of move a little bit. And I was like, well, that's kind of funny. So then I was like, well, let's shake it back and forth and see if it makes any noise. Which it does, and it's got play, left to right, right? Well, it's also got play up and down. Do you hear that? My other tire doesn't do that. Also, when you spin this, you hear that? So we're going to be replacing the wheel bearing. We're also going to be doing some brake pads today, and I think that's about it. These are actually my old rotors. So what I had them do auto shop is I had them turn them. So basically they just took off a really small layer. Price comparison, it was $24 to do both rotors compared to buying two new rotors at $97 a piece. These are nice and smooth now, and they're not going to kill my new brake pads. Okay, so here we are at the driver's side, and I'm only showing you the driver's side at the moment just because the passenger side's already taken apart, but I just wanted to go over all the steps with you. When you take off the wheel, you're going to be faced with the rotor, and there's going to be a Torx bit screw in here. That's going to come out in order for you to get the rotor off. A lot of times you find that this is going to be frozen in place. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a T30, you're going to stick it in there. You're going to take a hammer of good size here. You're going to tap on this and pound it like that. And you're going to try and break up the rust inside those threads, and then you're going to back it off. If that doesn't work, what you're going to have to do, which I had to do on the other side, is you're going to have to drill it out. You're going to have to start at a bigger bit and kind of work your way down as you go. And if you're doing a new wheel bearing, it doesn't really matter. The new wheel bearing is going to have a spot to put one of those in. That'll come off like that. Simply take it off like this. You got your caliper with your pads, and you've got your wheel bearing. This is the screw that I had to drill out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this caliper off. We're going to hang that out of the way, and then we're going to start doing the wheel bearing. Turn your steering wheel to the left if you're doing the passenger side. This is going to give you access to the bolts that hold the caliper in place. Get yourself an 18mm socket. Top one's right here. All right, now what we want to do is you want to get something to hang this up with. All right, so what you're going to do is tie up your caliper, get that out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is there's an ABS line that goes down to this wheel bearing. So we're going to pop this off. Get yourself a screwdriver if you have to. All right, now that that's down and like that, all right, if you have to, get yourself a little pick, and there's a tab right here, but on the inside you kind of have to go in, lift up, and bring it back, okay? You'll pull this purple piece back, okay? Then you may have to get underneath the black part as well in order to separate these. They're not fun. They never want to come apart. There we go, okay. So like I said, that purple tab has to be pulled back first, and then you can lift up on that black part in there, and it should come apart. All right, now we're going to remove it from here as well. Unclip it there. All right, so you can grab this with your finger, and you're going to take your little tool here and compress this clip on either side. It's like that. Bottom one is going to be a joke. All right, and it's out just like that. See, what you're supposed to do is you got these two for your fingers to grab, and then what you're supposed to do is squeeze these, and that enables you to pull it out of here. Okay, so now that's all done. Now all we have to do is take off 3 bolts. We got one here, here, and then one on the back side. You could put, it's a 15mm. I had trouble getting my impact socket on there. What I'm going to use is a 15 1/2 inch on a extension bar. just to loosen them up, and then I might finish it off with the ratchet here in a minute. There's one, there's two, and I'm going to turn the wheel the other way to access the other one. All right, the next one we want is right here. So now get this in here. All right, and that is your third one. All right, before we get too far, don't forget there's a nut underneath here. We're gonna have to take this cover off and get that nut off. All right, you're gonna want a 35 millimeter, and we're gonna zip this guy off. Hopefully I can get this out. You know, I try and get this out, but I'm just gonna wait till I go to put it on again. So don't forget to pull your little washer out here. Forgot about that. Come on, there we go. All right, get yourself a big hammer. Since this is no good, we're gonna replace it. We can just beat the shit out of it, right? All right, if you're having trouble separating your wheel bearing from your CV axle, get a punch, put it right here, and we're going to give it some love taps. There we go. Maybe a couple more. Oh, there we go. All right, and pay attention to the orientation. I believe it should be just like this, because you want your ABS wire to go right through this hole right here. The wheel bearing is out with the ABS wire, and we're gonna start to put it back together. So at this point, a lot of people would just be tempted to throw this in the scrap metal pile, call it a day. Well, this ABS wire is still good, and they are also expensive. So what I like to do is take them off. All right, so you take this guy out, take that screw out, and then you just simply pull up on this. And there is your ABS sensor. Put that in the drawer, save it for later. Before I put this back together, I just want to take something and just kind of scuff up the inside here where that wheel bearing is going to land. All right, get yourself some anti-seize, mix that up real good. And what I want to do is I want to put some on the inside of this lip where that wheel bearing is going to land, and that just ensures when I have to do this again one day, which I'm sure I'm going to, that it will come off a lot easier. I'm going to put a little bit here. I want to make sure that's going to be able to come on and off when I have to replace it again. All right, so here we go. I got the new one. Part number is 930611. That is the new wheel bearing. You can see it comes with an ABS wire and all that good stuff. So this is what we're going to put on. All right, first thing is first, put your dust shield back on, okay? I'm just going to set that there for now, and I'm just going to try and work this in. Now that we're roughly in place, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and make sure, and I'm going to start threading these by hand. So now that we have enough room, we got your 15 millimeter again. Okay, we can get it. That bottom one again. Got this side. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten all those down by hand. Next thing I'm going to do is take this washer, put that back on. So we got the nut in there still, remember? Oh boy, it's hot. Thread that on. you go. All right, what we're gonna do next is we got this wire coming through, right? We're gonna push this into this part right here. Just like that, you hear it clicking. Now what we're gonna do is we're going right on top over here. Then we're gonna be able to push this right into place. All right, that's pushed into place. Now we're gonna reconnect our line. We're gonna reconnect that. That's in. We're gonna push in that purple tab. And then we're gonna push it back into place up here. Now we're all in place with the ABS line. All right, now make sure you put your dust cap back on. We can give it some light taps with a hammer. Light taps, we don't need to do anything too hard. All the way around, nice and even. All right, that's all on. Next thing we're gonna do is you're gonna get your rotor. You're gonna make sure you line up this hole right here to this hole right here. We're going to take our little set screw, which is going to hold the rotor in place. All right, that's in place. All right, now we're going to start work on the brake pads and the caliper here. We've got slide pins right here and right here. We're going to take those off with a 19 millimeter. All right, you may have to get a pry bar and pry this up like that, okay? But this is going to pull off like this, right? Now on yours, your pistons are going to be sticking out, okay? These ones are already squished back in, and I'll show you that in a second. First things first, we have to get these pistons pushed back into the caliper. First thing you want to do, take your cap off, set that off to the side. I don't have the right tool, but man, let me tell you how easy this is. We want to slowly bring those pistons back in, okay? We don't want to do it fast. Squish it in, let it sit for a second, give it another little squeeze, let it sit for a second. Now you can do two. If you got two, you can do two at the same time. I'm just doing one just so I can show you how I'm doing it. Give it a little squeeze, and eventually these will be all the way back in. All right, we are all the way in on that one. Now those are all squished back into place. And then we're going to take off our pads. These are just going to pull out. Take note of which pad comes off. This one's got one with a squeaker noise on it. Okay. You don't have to take off the whole caliper in order to change the pads. You can put new, they come with new metal slides. These ones are still good. I'm just going to put some grease, put some new pads in them, and then put it back together. Alright, so I'm going to take some, and I'm not going to don't get this on the rotor, okay? We just want it in certain areas where your brake pads are going to make contact, okay? The next thing I want to do is I want to grease up the pin slides here. So we're going to take these out. You're going to wipe off any excess, okay? And I just like to keep these nice and lubed up. That can go back in. See, that's how it's supposed to look right there, just like that. Take this one off, do the same thing. Here, I just wanted to show you a quick comparison between the two brake pads. So you got the old one there on the left, you got the new one on the right. You see that difference? That's huge, huge difference. All right, these pads is GNAD 1363. And you'll notice that on the back it shows it's got an outer, and then the one that's got the little squeaky mechanism here that lets you know your brake pads are getting low, that has got a inner. This one says right hand inner. Get a little stuff on my finger here. I'm going to put a little bit here on the ends, let that kind of be able to slide back and forth. We're going to go down to the bottom. We're just going to push this guy right into place, just like that. Now we're going to do the next one. Put a little grease on the ends. Make sure you don't get it on the pad, obviously. I'm going to squish this guy right into place, just like that. All right. Now that that's like that, we can take, and we're going to put this back down. Kind of grab these slide locks like this, and then kind of rotate inwards. All right. Now we're going to take our 19mm bolt here. Get the bottom one. Kind of move it up and down so you feel it start to thread. With the vehicle off, we're just going to pump up the brakes, and they should get stiff immediately. If they don't get stiff, what you're probably going to have to do is you're probably going to have to bleed the brakes. All right, so you've got the wheel all back on, and nothing. Absolutely, I can't get that to make a sound at all. Left to right, all it does is just move the wheel. No clicking, that's on there nice and good. All right, guys, well, that's it. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment down below. And if you like this video, check out these videos. That one's kind of cool. I like that one. That one's cool too. That one's my favorite.